What if we tell you that this giant residential block that you see in the middle is actually part of a village? You're watching Stripping Architecture, and let's strip some architecture with out-of-the-box sketches.
This giant residential building that we see on the photo is located in a fisherman's village in Russia. Very unique, right? Apparently, the building is abandoned for an unknown reason. Let's tweak this building together as much as possible in order to give it a village shape. What about adding rocky hills, smaller houses, stairs, and more windows, shaping some village landscape and fun? Here you go. We have finally sketched it as a village block. Now, fishermen can come back to their normal life.
Some people have the privilege to have a front yard, and that is a great asset. Therefore, front yards are often perceived as a sovereign land of private property. But at the same time, we must not forget that the design of the front yard can operate as a silent language for communication with your neighbors. That is why we have sketched front yard as a language. And if we know how to use this language, we can build excellent relations with all our neighbors and make a better city, hopefully. And we go with the next sketch. What is this, Hamad?
This photo actually shows a building belongs to a school campus in Brussels. It does indeed have these dry columns popping up from the front facade. These columns give the impression of grumpy teachers who are looking and observing kids around the school, like on this sketch, the grumpy teachers. What about loosening up these concrete columns and make them cheerful and more kids-friendly? Or, what do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, it will just be more animated and less observant and scary like this right now.
And what do we have here?
Well, here we analyze attics. In fact, sometimes when we look at the attics of the houses, we wonder what type of people predominantly live inside. And to be honest, unless it is a part of a penthouse, the attic is often reserved for students, working class people, low-income families, or newcomers in the city. In other words, people who supply the city with energy. This actually inspired us to sketch the attic as the city's battery. And maybe this phenomenon would have been okay if these people could improve their living conditions, but unfortunately they often remain living in the same conditions for a long time. Let's jump on the next one. This is very interesting over here. What is this?
We heard before about coffee grinders, pepper grinder, but have you ever heard about tenants grinder? This residential tower in London is a clear example of this tenants grinder. On this sketch, we try to illustrate this phenomena of tenants grinder. First, investors land with their capital. They start to transform affordable housing blocks to lofts. Meanwhile, the tenants grinder starts to grind by kicking the tenants out of their apartments.
And what are the results?
Well, the results are replacing the tenants with a new upper middle class and elite owners. In other words, I guess everyone knows this phenomena which we call gentrification.
No way.
Yeah.
First time I hear about it.
Next on menu.
Well, these little houses in the settlements. Actually, when we see settlements with separate houses, we often think of people as individuals. And let's be honest, the rights of the individual are extremely important and we should cherish them as a civilizational achievement. But unfortunately, individual rights somehow got hacked by capitalism and consumerism so much that it made it a huge gap between the individual and collective values. And in that sense, we have sketched the forced socialization. In other words, living in a hyper-individualist society is like living on an island. Therefore, whenever someone is promoting collective entities like this within the context of islands, it is unlikely that it will work, because anything among islands starts to look like
Islands.
big isolated islands. And here again we have some abandoned house. What is this, Ahmed?
Well, actually, this house has been sold for almost €500,000. It's a very tiny house, which is located in a working class district. It's completely run down and in a very bad condition. Some of us might ask, who on earth buys such houses? Bohemian bourgeois who love to have a toy house to play with.
So what are actually bobos?
Well, actually, bobos love to blend in such neighborhoods and taste their multicultural experience, being down to earth and also being socially inclusive.
A lot lot of things you cannot buy with money.
And our next case is
Well, it's the following. Architecture has often the purpose of conducting a message or information in an associative way. In other words, architecture has to symbolize a meaning to people. But don't you think that if one symbol is being excessively pushed, the symbol starts to lose its importance? Here, for example, we have sketched the symbol building. Our question is, even though you see many crosses on this building, does this building looks or resembles a church? I doubt about it. Oh, I see a lot of trash over here. What is this?
well, actually, a very frustrating reality out there. Streets for cars are always proper and constantly maintained. Meanwhile, sidewalks and bicycle lanes are narrow, badly designed, full of different obstacles and signs, rarely maintained. In this sketch, we try to illustrate this phenomenon explicitly. That takes us to the next car-centric society sketch.
Yes, actually, if you use the car in the right way, it is definitely a great tool. But, as you can see on this video, cars started to dominate in our cities, and it's fair to say that they often resemble burden rather than tool. This video is from Boston and inspired us to sketch the car-flooded city. It is so pity that from so many cars on the streets, we can't acknowledge the beauty and the potentials of our streetscapes and cities. Have you ever wondered why you can't see the shop with flowers on your street?
Because it's flooded with parked cars around. And thanks again for watching Stripping Architecture. Don't forget to share, subscribe, like, and comment. Have a nice day and goodbye.